It's the Bulls Podcast, episode 66. We talk about the Bulls' embarrassing losses, game predictions, and we're going to break down where we are as a team for the Chicago Bulls.
Hey, Chicago Bulls fans.
I'm sick of the theme. I'm sick of the intro. And quite frankly, Wise, I'm sick of the Bulls right now. I'm really sick and tired of these Bulls. I'm tired of all the action of basically, the thumbnail sums it up. There's Alex Caruso on his tail while we get lit up. Lit up. So, yeah. Let's just break this New York Knicks loss down. Did you watch this whole debacle?
I didn't see the whole game, but I saw enough.
Okay, so let's refresh some fans' memory. This pretty much sums the entire game up right here.
Possession.
We weren't even sure Jalen Brunson was going to play tonight. Hurt his foot on Sunday, and he comes up with a 30-point game despite being questionable coming in. A homecoming for Brunson. He just put the Bulls away with a triple. 128-119 with 28 seconds to go.
It gave somebody the business.
Yeah. That was pretty much the summary of the night. And then we had this final attempt here that P. Will should have put in.
He was open too. It was like the Atlanta Hawks play.
And Randall did everything in his power just to get a hand up there.
That could have been a foul too. Watch. That's at the body right there. That could be a foul. He should be at the free throw line.
To try to.
Where is he catching that?
On that one. I agree with Stacey. There was a lot of contact on that.
Okay, but let's put it in perspective. He should have caught that with the paw, not the forearm, the paw, right? Isn't that what we're talking about here?
It is.
So before we get into it, I love doing something lately, which is looking at the opposing teams' post-game shows and things. And look how well the Knicks, by the way, didn't think Jalen Brunson even had a prayer to play this game. He was hurt. He was playing through injury, yet he went off like he was MJ for some reason. Let's look at what the Knicks broadcast had to say about this in postgame.
We go inside out again, this time with Ian Begley. The Knicks are fortunate to get the win so everyone can forget that final possession in regulation. But Ian, Jalen Brunson was questionable going in. How was he able to provide the answers for the Knicks in this one?
Oh, my goodness. 39 minutes and really took the game over in overtime. The ball was in his hands. He was making things happen. You saw the crossover on Alex Caruso, but it was more than just that. I think Brunson showing his teammates that, hey, if I'm healthy enough to step on the floor, I'm playing, I'm pushing to play, and I'm going to perform. I think that goes a long way in an NBA locker room, especially for, a Knicks team that had been struggling prior to this 5-game win streak. Brunson, showing them what it means to show up when your team needs you, when your teammates need you. And if that's a sore foot, man, I would love to see, how he looks perfectly healthy on a night like this, because he was phenomenal.
Yeah, no doubt a different display of leadership from Brunson. Quentin Grimes has received plenty of credit recently for the Knicks' improved defense. But, Ian, how much of a factor was his offense down the stretch in this one?
Huge. 2 threes late. One late in the fourth, one late in overtime. Pivotal shots. And his shot is coming along. He started off a little bit slowly because of the missed time and getting his rhythm back. But you're seeing him come back with that shot, and it's a big weapon for the Knicks. And overall, if you look at when he was reinserted to the starting lineup and Mitchell Robinson came back off of injury, the Knicks are 7-4 since that happened, obviously winning 5 in a row here. But you put Grimes and you put Robinson in that starting lineup, and the Knicks are a different team defensively. And obviously credit Tom Thibodeau, because since he made the rotation tweak, Miles McBride in, the Knicks have won 5 straight. The defense was not great tonight, but they got stops when they needed it. Again, 5 in a row for a Knicks team that really, really needed to get going when this win streak started.
And now they get to do it all over again against the Bulls in Chicago on.
Yeah, they're going to do it to us again. That's what they're saying. They're
Oh,
going for 6 in a row. We could have won if we would have won these 2 games. Actually, we would have been at least 7th or 6th in the East if
yeah,
we could have
which
pulled these
is,
two out.
and you know what? So I think I guess that's what I would like to start. Uh, just my whole like, I guess that's what I like to start with, just as far
Okay.
as how close of a race it is in the East.
Yeah.
Like, I know, like, us being super passionate Bulls fans, we get super emotional about this stuff. So it's like, I know I've been like super like down on the team, and that's what's really like it really gets to me because man, I am the Bull lifer himself, and it's like, man, when I feel like the team isn't performing how I want them to, I just I might get a little bit biased, and I don't like look at the positives of things either. But I guess when I do look at the fact that they do have like games coming up that I think that the Bulls should win. Looking at how they handled Dallas, I mean that was really decent. Like they took care of Dallas without Luka. I mean they shot crazy from deep. They contained Dinwiddie and the other guy that they have over there that's supposed to be a co-star. But nonetheless, I guess what I'm looking at is the fact that how close like the Bulls are even to the Philadelphia 76ers, who are like fifth
Yeah, they're
in the
5th.
East right now. Yeah, they're only 4 games. They're only 4 games behind them, which I guess speaks volumes to how I guess unimpressive the East has been thus far. But I mean, the Bulls still have a
I'll give you
shot
that.
to get in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So for me, we can see on the screen here the Bulls are 11th. They're basically out of the play-in, out of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And 2-game losing streak, games that we should have won easily. We should have
Most
won had
definitely.
we done anything within the second quarter whatsoever. And the second quarter is continually our Achilles heel. And I want to talk. Let's take that off and go to a clip from Alex Caruso where he's talking about lack of energy and effort and consistency at the beginning of the game.
When I'm short, just gotta do a better job paying attention to the details earlier in the game. We've had games this year where we put it all together, we look really good. Problem is we just, some nights we're not there for 48 minutes, and that's the difference in professional sports is, teams are really good, players are really good if you're not locked in for a full game. It's kind of a coin flip at the end. Like tonight, they just made more shots than us, and that's kind of what it came down to.
Yeah. Exactly. And I mean, like, so not only that, but it's their perimeter defense, man. Like they can't stop anybody from three. I mean, they're like the worst perimeter defensive team in the league right now, which is insane. I mean, and not only that, but they don't shoot the three enough either. So if they're not stopping anybody from deep and they're also not making their own 3-point shots, or at least when they do take them, they hit them at a fairly decent clip. I mean, they're around like one of the middling teams as far as 3-point percentage overall as a team, but they just don't shoot enough when it comes to the 3-point shot. But you can't not get as many, extra point shots, but then turn around and give up so many of them and expect to win. And
Yeah.
that's what the Bulls are doing right now. It's glaring.
And we've all given DeMar DeRozan this nickname of King of the Fourth, even though he still kind of is, but not as effective as he was. Where's our King of the Second? That's
That's
what we need.
supposed to be either Vooch or Zach. I mean, and
It needs to
when I
be
when I
Zach.
when I think about Zach LaVine, I mean, so in the last pretty much since the beginning of last month, he has legitimately been putting up over 20 plus points per game, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, so Zach LaVine is coming through when it comes to the points. He's putting the ball in the hole, and I mean the positive for that just tells me that he's kind of getting he's dusting off himself from the beginning little rut that he was in for the beginning of the season. He's coming into game shape. But when it comes to just the turnovers that a lot of times Zach is committing, because in that last game, Zach LaVine had 7 of the Bulls' 18 turnovers. So that's killing them.
And we were out-rebounded by 20. Where was Drummond yesterday?
Out-rebounded. Where was Vooch yesterday, right? I mean, so yeah, like Caruso said, they're lacking that consistency. But not only that, I just feel like they still haven't figured out how to play cohesively as a team. Because on paper, I think they have a very, very solid team, but the plan of continuity just hasn't come together yet. But again, man, there's still hope, and I still stand on what I said. My stance, just as far as I think it would be smarter for the Bulls to go the route of getting draft picks for their better players or whatnot. But obviously, that's not the route that Acme wants to go. So if that's going to be the case, then I think that we do have to just pay attention to, I guess, where the team is going to go from now. And it looks like the Bulls actually still have a chance to crack, anywhere from 5 to 8 in the East, because there's still a lot of room to grow.
You got to get on it, though. Saying ain't doing. You got to get to it. So
I mean,
as we look
at the schedule. My bad. Go ahead. What you got here?
I was just going to say the spread of this game is crazy, and the fact that the Bulls just couldn't get it going. This was a season average. Hold on, I got to get to a better screen here.
This versus the next last game.
Yeah. That's stupid NBA. Wednesday. There we go. My apologies, everybody. Thanks for sticking with me. Let's go to the box score. I think this should give me something. Game charts. Okay. Yeah. So as we look at this, what happened here? We cut it close to the beginning of the second quarter, and then all hell broke loose. And we barely got back into the midway through the third, lost it by the beginning of the fourth, fought it tooth and nail, back and forth. I think the biggest lead we had in the whole game was 1. Crazy. Should have kicked their ass this game. So let's go to some excuses. You ready? You ready for the excuse machine? You got your popcorn?
Let's go.
I mean, I don't know. I thought our guys really, really competed and got back in the game. Obviously, they got off to a hot start. I think it was 11-2 to start the game, and I think we were maybe down by 8 or 9 at the half, and then we kind of had a really good third quarter, and we were kind of in a little bit of trouble, and we found a way to get it into overtime. We didn't shoot the ball particularly well tonight from the 3-point line. I really, really thought we competed. I thought that the challenge for us tonight was, I thought we really got caught in some situations of leaving our feet on a lot of shot fakes, which led to fouls. And then I think the other part of it, too, was we got hurt on the glass. I think if we can clean those things up, which are controllables, I think that's positive. But I thought our guys physically competed. I liked the way we guarded Randall at the end of the game. I thought Brunson made some really, really great plays. I thought 2 of Grimes' threes were, we got the ball out of Randall's hand, I think, or Brunson's hands, and they found him, and we went out there and contested. So I really believe we're fighting and competing. I just think there's detailed things that we've got to get better at, because some of those things are just adding up. The fouling, the leaving our feet, guys stepping through, missed blockouts. Like, those are the kind of things I think we got to get better at.
How long is
What's with the crack talk here, Billy? Jesus, take a breath. Did you hear him? He's like, then we got to do this, then we got to do this, then we got to. It's like, are you on Adderall, bro? What's going on? What is up with him?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, I'm done.
No, I was saying, it's not like, so he's paying attention to a lot of the little things, like he was saying, loose balls, box outs, and second chance points and everything of this. Like that stuff definitely does matter. But I guess from a fan's perspective, when I'm watching them out there too, I do see, a lot of times I'm paying attention to the individuals, of course, the team as a whole, but I like to look at the guys who are getting the most minutes out there. And like, I think about Patrick Williams and how he started off, the first half. He had 9 of his points in the first half. So he was doing pretty decently in this Knicks game. Even when it came to guarding Julius Randle, I thought that he guarded him fairly decently as well. But whenever Patrick Williams doesn't have that consistency, because once it got to the second half, I mean, the dude only took one shot.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he's been money from deep. Patrick Williams is our leading 3-point shooter right now at around like 45% from three. But he doesn't shoot it enough.
He could have won the game had he put that dunk in.
Yeah.
Only Jimmy Buckets can do that so far. That's what we've learned.
I remember that.
All right, let's keep going with this 4-part train wreck.
It's sustainable, though, for you guys to continue to build these first half deficits. Lots of times it's come from the 3-point line, and the Knicks aren't a very good 3-point shooting team. And then have to be in that situation where you're clawing and scratching just to get the game closer into overtime.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they made some shots. Give them credit. It wasn't like we weren't guarding specific guys. It wasn't like, hey, listen, we were letting them.
Blueprint. The deficit thing is.
Yeah, no, that's definitely happened. And I think when we don't get off to good, fast starts offensively, and I think when you look at the score being 11-2, I mean, like, again, tonight, I think, we had 25 assists and we shot over 50%, from the field, and we just didn't shoot it great from three. I think last game against Atlanta, I think our defense rating-wise was like 4th. So we're doing a pretty good job defensively. I think we got to clean up the fouling and the rebounding. I thought that hurt us tonight, the discipline stuff. But I liked the way our guys battled and fought and competed tonight. We didn't really, for us to get outshot like that from the 3-point line and have it in overtime, we did a lot of really good things, but there's other things we just don't have a margin for error, that we've got to be really, really, really just disciplined in a lot of specific areas. And I thought that's what really, the two things that dug us a hole, in my opinion, in that first half was, I think they almost took twice as many free throws as we did, and we got hurt on the glass. Those two things really hurt us, and I thought we cleaned them up in the third quarter. I thought in the fourth quarter we had a little bit more difficulty with that.
Yeah, because you got out-rebounded by almost 20.
And what really stood out to me, too, about what he just said was the fact that in that Atlanta game, he mentioned how their defensive rating was 4th in the league. And what's so crazy about that to me is pretty much through this first quarter of the season, the Bulls have had a fairly high defensive rating, but they still continue to lose all of these clutch games. And it's because of the issue that they were dealing with in the second half of last season when it comes to no 3-point shooting. So it goes back to 3-point shooting, and it also goes back to their lack of 3-point shooting defense. Because, everything outside of the perimeter, like whether it's offense or defense, the Bulls pretty much are solid. They have a really good mid-range score in DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. He's really good at hitting in the mid-range as well. Plus, Vooch, you look at their inside scoring, I think the Bulls beat them in inside scoring by about like 15 points almost. I think they had 50-some points in the paint. So that's not their issue. Their issues all revolve around the perimeter, 3-point shooting and 3-point shooting defense.
So as Billy Donovan said, they are consistently inconsistent. And that tells me they either have no drive or no heart, because they're all elite athletes. Every one of them, top to bottom, is an elite athlete. If you knew one of these guys personally, he'd be the most ripped, badass friend you knew, right? I mean, let's face it, right? He'd be the one doing all the crazy ninja stuff at parties. So I it's gotta. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know what it is, but I don't love the answers that I hear from Billy.
I just
So
feel like Billy doesn't want to get up there and sound repetitive, or just continue to repeat the same thing over and over. But it's simple. It's simply put, man. Like, this team is a very solid team when it comes to all of the basic basketball stuff. Like, at least in comparison to their counterparts, other teams in the NBA, they're solid when it comes to like scoring on the inside, scoring mid range, even guarding the basket fairly well. But Billy doesn't want to get up there and continue to harp on the thing that our management couldn't correct for us in this past offseason, which is 3-point shooting. Now, when it comes to the lack of 3-point defense, I mean, I guess you can attribute that to Lonzo Ball being out as well. I mean, so
one guy is going to cover everybody's 3-point attempts. Really, an entire team.
I don't know. I guess it's also that factor where the Draymond Green factor, where I guess like they need that starter, that guy who galvanizes the team and makes everybody want to play. I believe energy is actually real. That like one player can make a difference when it comes to how guys feel out there on the court, and not necessarily. I don't necessarily. What's crazy is I can't necessarily say that Lonzo Ball is the leader. I think he may be the leader by example, but that's funny to say because he isn't your best player, and typically that would be your best player, right? But I don't know.
Isn't Kobe White that guy? Isn't Kobe White that guy that should come in and cook?
Is that a joke? Well, I don't know.
Well, his role is that's what his role is. Get in there and cook.
I mean, you know what? I mean, the last few games, I mean, I can't necessarily say he's been cooking, but I mean, he's been putting up 12, 14 points here and there. He hit a few big shots, So I mean, like he and Derek Jones Jr. have been pretty light spots. I mean, pretty decent bright spots for the Bulls over the past few games. I mean, so they've been looking pretty solid, but I mean, they just can't cover for that lack of 3-point shooting, man. I don't think they shoot it enough, and that's why I was harping on Kobe White earlier in the season. I was saying how I think he should just embrace the role of a 3-and-D player and get up at least 10 3-point shots a game. I mean, because that's what the Bulls need right now.
Yeah, and other teams aren't even defending it because they know we suck. So let's continue with Billy.
Ronnie, without having seen the film yet, was it just not being physical enough? Was it poor rotations? Was it missed assignment? What did you see on the offensive?
Some of it, just right now without watching the film, was I think that we, against Randall in a lot of situations had some size differential, whether it was Patrick or anybody. And I think those guys battled and fought, but they need another body there, with them. And I think when we did send bodies in and help, we were off bodies. So I think the rotational blockout thing, I want to take a look at it. I don't think it was a situation where guys just weren't trying. I think it was more like trying to take care of the specific player where he was positioned on the floor. And then shots are going up, and now we're having to go back, and we're probably being wedged by Robinson in some of those situations. But I don't want to speak too much on it because I would like to go back and watch.
Okay, let me give you one more just to close this out, and then we can put this one to bed.
Offensively in overtime, you talked about how good you were at shooting in regulation, but it kind of bogged down in overtime.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't. Yeah, I thought Vooch got the ball pretty deep. He had an opportunity there. DeMar got to his spots. We didn't shoot the ball particularly well. That happens. They made some threes. I thought Grimes' shots were tough shots. Where we contested.
From the offensive end for you guys more so.
Oh, I mean, I just didn't think that we got I think the ball to Zach and DeMar and to Vooch, in areas of the floor where I think they're effective. And we didn't finish those plays. That happens sometimes, but I did think there was with that being said, those guys maybe not finishing some plays or making some shots. I think it was the other things, in terms of the discipline defensively, in terms of leaving our feet and second chance and letting them step through, and that I thought hurt us. But offensively, I thought we got the ball down the stretch to those three guys, and listen, I thought those three guys delivered to get us just to overtime, and Brunson and I thought Randall made some plays. I thought the defense on Randall when he held it in regulation was really good team wise. We had an opportunity with .7, but we didn't shoot the ball well coming down into the overtime down the last one.
Regulation, the lob to Pat. Do you see an opportunity there to just get him something athletically? Try to basically lay it into the buzzer. Just kind of what's the thought process?
There was three different options on the play. There was a if they would have switched, there was a DeMar post up on the switch to kind of seal. And then Zach kind of came over the top, and there was a rescreening action for him, and wanted to give Alex a couple options, just what to look for. The first thing was Patrick. I think, he felt like he was open. I think he probably was. The pass was a little bit, out of reach. And the next option would have been DeMar if he would have been able to seal. And then, from there it was Zach kind of coming back off. So we had three different things, and, just went through them in the timeout, and then Alex, obviously, I think saw an opportunity for Patrick. That was the first option.
Thanks, Billy.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Billy. Thanks for that trash heap. It was not out of reach. That's not true. Let's look at
most definitely.
Let's look at it one more time.
He was open too. It's like the Atlanta Hawks play.
And Randall did everything in his power just to get a hand up there.
That could have been a foul too. Watch. That's in the body right there. That could be a foul. He should be at the free throw line.
So what? Put it in. Put it in and then take your free throw.
Yeah, that was actually a really decent pass. He had an opportunity to be able to slam that in. Randall was all on him, but I don't know.
You're the paw. You're supposed to grab that thing with your hand and chuck it in the hole. I'm so frustrated with that loss, man. You don't know how pissed I am and how pissed off the callers were when I did the post game last night. It was crazy.
Yeah, I feel your pain, man. I like what Russ C said in the comments, just as far as a lot of times DeMar and Zach are taking shots too quickly with about 14 seconds left on the shot clock. And the lack of plays being ran for them. Yeah, man. A lot of times what I see that the Bulls lack is they lack that go-to scoring play. A lot of times their go-tos are ISOs, right, where they're just giving the ball to DeMar and letting him cook. But once, defenses, they catch on to that and they begin to double DeMar, then it's like, all right, it's Zach's turn. Now you do your ISO thing, as opposed to there being a go-to play where it's whatever, DeMar running the play or starting with the ball in his hands and having Zach come off of some pick from Vooch or something like that for an open three-point or mid-range shot, or hell, even a slash to the basket. I think they need some sort of go-to play for when they are beginning to tail off, and get out of rhythm. They need something to go to put them back on par, get them back in the game. But he's right, they lack that.
Yeah, Russ says Patrick Williams' new nickname is now the Finger. I don't know which finger we're talking about. I can give him one. But how about the forearm? Can we call him the forearm instead?
Oh man.
Can't catch or shoot with your forearm, guys. That's just what I'm noticing about the game after watching it for 35 years of my life. So, all right, well, let's switch gears, man. We did get some really cool news in terms of former Bulls, which is the MVP trophy is now going to be known as the MJ trophy. Let's learn all about it.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan shows again why he is the #1 MVP in the world.
Michael Jordan at his best. There's very few people on this planet that can do this.
Strength is one thing, but lots of guys are strong, and lots of guys have skill, and only one guy has this level of artistry.
You can't believe that one, can you? I tell you, he's just simply amazing. And a trending MVP for Michael Jordan. The MVP for a fifth time.
What do you think of that trophy? What do you think of it?
About doggone time. I mean, I like it. I think it probably would have looked better if they would have, had the jump man, but then they probably would have had to pay him, right? They would have had to pay him if it was a jump man.
I think they're going to pay him either way, but yeah. I like it. I think it's a little too skinny in terms of the trophy, but I get the symbolism. It's like 23.6 inches tall. It weighs 2.36 pounds. So they were getting the 23 and the 6 titles. They had a 6-sided nameplate, a 5-sided base at 15 degrees.
You really inspected this thing, huh?
Nah, I saw this graphic they had about this thing.
Okay.
Well, it's not like they gave me one. We're not that tight.
Well, if they gave you one, man, I'd be like, man, Marcus, what you doing talking to me?
Speaking of give, I was on the UK Chicago Bulls podcast with Jimmy a couple weeks ago, and I gave him some suggestions as to where to go in Chicago because he was going to go to a couple games. Dude, he got the fan experience. He got to meet everybody. Like even yesterday, he's showing pictures of him and Joakim Noah, and he got like all the jerseys signed and everything. So we're gonna get him on and talk about his entire experience, and he can share some of that. But wow, he got the royal treatment coming from the UK over here. So. Props to Jimmy, and I hope he had a great time. And it sounds like he had some great experience with some Chicagoans and their famous hospitality. So, props to him. So, anything else you want to cover? Predictions we got to do. I think we're still even.
Nah, I think I'm one up on you, brother. I predicted the Hawks. So you was one up on me, right?
You're right.
I predicted
so you got
the
two
Hawks
on me?
would win, and I predicted the Bulls would beat the Mavs. We both thought they would beat New York, but they didn't.
Yeah. Okay. So now you're one up, or are we even?
Yeah.
You're one up. I don't like that at all.
Sure you don't.
Okay. So let's go through the schedule here. So we got obviously Friday. The Knicks, you think they can win the bounce back against the Knicks?
I'm going to give it to them, man. That game was far too close for the Bulls to lose again. I think they're going to get them next time around.
Okay. And then we have the Bulls Sunday in Minnesota against the Timberwolves.
I got the Wolves, man.
So do I.
They're decent. They're decent.
And then Tuesday, the Bulls are in Miami to face the currently 14 and 15 Miami Heat. Bulls don't do too great in Miami.
I know, but I don't know. It's something about Miami that's still pretty shaky to me right now. I'm gonna go with the Bulls.
Okay, I'll go with the Miami Heat on that one.
Plus, they get up to play Jimmy.
Yeah. We'll see. And then one more, which would be Wednesday the 21st in Atlanta.
They take the W.
Me too. I'm with you on that one.
Yep.
I'm with you. All right. Anything else you want to gripe about?
Nah.
All right. Well, then in that case, we will call it a show. This is the Bulls Podcast, episode number 66. Tell your friends about us. The title of this one, Blow It Up. And that's just a reaction. It's just a reaction to everybody that I saw on Twitter yesterday. So I'm just trying to steal a trend.
For real,
I
on
honestly,
Twitter was
yeah.
saying blow it up.
Oh, yeah. Bulls Twitter is mad. But the thing is, no team that's really blown it up has built it back to a championship contender. I mean, there's very, very few, and it's exceptions like Boston or Detroit or some of those. But I mean, you don't see the Warriors blowing it up after they had a dismal year. You don't see the Bucks blowing it up after they had their issues. The Heat aren't blowing it up.
Different cases though, man. They all had superstars. You know, they were just injured, and the Heat are the Heat. I mean, you know, that's apples and
Pat
oranges
Riley.
when you talk
Yeah.
about organizations. Yeah. Like they're gonna get free agents pretty much every other year. You know, they play their cards right. So I mean, but I don't know, man. I guess well, I like the look of seeing teams with young guys
Hmm.
and watching them develop. And I guess that's why I was harping so much on, just the Bulls doing away with, their really decent pieces for draft capital and putting the ball in Patrick Williams and Ayo Dosunmu's hands, even Dalen Terry. I would really like to see what Patrick Williams would do if he knew that the team was his. So I mean, because I'm looking at what Lloyd Marketing is doing now with the idea that the Jazz is his team, and I mean he's taking that by the horns. You look at Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, what he's doing. I mean, Wendell Carter Jr. is looking pretty decent in Orlando. I mean, you have a lot of decent examples of young guys who have the opportunity to take over a team, and they do something with it.
You know what's crazy about Lowry this year is he'll make the All-Star game easily. And the All-Star game is going to be in Utah this year.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows what he's going to do? You think he might go in the slam dunk or something like that, but I think Lowry's going to turn out for this event.
Yeah, I could see him in a 3-point shooting contest or the skills contest. I could see him in one of those two.
Yeah, he did pretty well in the skills contest a couple of years ago. I remember that. All right, well, we are going to close it out to predict. Let's see. So we predicted wins, both you and I, for the Knicks game, and then pretty much losses, and then wins and wins. So that's it. uh, we had technical difficulties this show. That's why the microphone is sounding a little weird today. I'm gonna have to have that worked out. It's like you buy all this gear and then suddenly the browser doesn't connect to it. It's stupid. So I want to thank everybody for watching us. You can find me at Marcus Couch, find the show at Bulls Podcast everywhere on social and YouTube, and you can find Wyse Black at Radical_Creator. Until next time, go Bulls.
Go Bulls.